Much for that. Back to the bench and my panel of experts. Political analyst Professor Peter Kagwanja on the far end. In the middle, Mumbi Ng'aru, former MP Iyala, and right next to me, Professor Macharia Munene, talking about the mountain that seems to be rumbling. Folks, let's first talk about the president's trip in the U.S. right now. Professor Kagwanja, you're very familiar with that part of the world. Yep. What is he hoping to get from there?
I think just by going is a huge achievement for Kenya. In 16 years, this is the first time we're getting an African government going on a state visit, not official visit. Kibaki was there, that was official visit. Uhuru Kenyatta was there, that's official visit. This is a state visit, meaning all business of government is shut down to receive a very important guest who is a Kenyan. So I think it's an honor to us as a country to have that status. If we get it from China, we get it from India, then we have reached the league of the great nation. There's a place for prestige, Jeff.
Mumbi, despite the fact that we're spending 1.6 million shillings an hour on a charter flight, does that make sense?
I have no problem with the state visit, but I think the timing was wrong. If I were the one, thank God I'm not, I would have told my hosts to give me time to reorganize, and then we can arrange it probably in 2-3 months' time. After probably I sort out our budget in the country, it is still having issues. We still have the country going through the post-floods. Schools have just opened. Doctors have just gone back to work. We have more to handle than that prestige. I was hoping that Professor Kagwanja would have said they catered for that expense, but they did not. So I would have asked them to push it forward.
We're going to pay for it, you know that?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying, with a light touch, that maybe they would have the hosts.
Yeah, pay for it.
Should have paid for it so that it makes sense to us as Kenyans, and because of the economic situation that we are going through. It's good, it's prestigious. It's interesting. The president is holding the hand of the first lady, so there's also some learning to do. It's a good thing.
Professor Munene, do you agree?
Well, it's a good thing for the president. It's a recognition he really wants. And he's been fighting for that recognition because it gives him that prestige, where he is portrayed as the leader of the Africans. And he is not the first Kenyan to be portrayed that way. We had Tom Mboya before, and we had Raila Odinga before. And there's something that comes up from the United States, identifying an African, say this is the leader of the Africans. Now, the fact about 3 of them have come from Kenya, it's not bad for Kenya, in that sense. Yeah. So it is, as Kagwanja say, it's an honor for the president and by extension for Kenya. And as Mumbi is wondering, should it have come at this time? And given some of the ramifications that are likely to be there, whether the jet was necessary. And the Americans were very quick to say, we are not paying for it. Which cast some sort of, wait, what's going on? Why were they so quick to say we are not paying?
Right.
The optics of it, something did not go very well.
Yeah.
But a state visit for any president anywhere in the world, they are happy.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. So for the president, I think it was very good. The question that comes up, why was it necessary? What is in it for Biden? Because it is not that Kenya is that critical. Unless we explain that critical aspect, what is it? which plays into the politics of the United States and Kenya.
Yeah.
The United States is in a mess, partly because of Haiti. and so now Kenya is being seen as the good country that would help to rescue the United States out of the mess in Haiti. And because of that, Biden is very eager to please Ruto in any way that he can. Remember, he went to the UN and praised Ruto, singled him out. So you ask, what's going on, which is not normal for US presidents.
Yeah.
And so there is something more than just somebody visiting and go and have some good dinner at the State House. White House tomorrow. It's the symbolism of it, which...
There's some goodies that will come out.
We hope. Other than, can the Americans invest in Kenya? The ones who closed shops in Kenya, can they come back? So we used to have Coca-Cola here. What happened to it? So,
there was a deal signed yesterday, 22 billion shillings.
Well, we hope it materializes. One of the problems with the United States and Western powers, they make a lot of promises. And then they have problems delivering.
Yeah. Professor Kagwanja, let's come back to the mountain. Why is the mountain rumbling? Why is it so restless?
There are a number of things you can say about that. First and foremost, we went into 2022 election, a very, very divided region, particularly within the leadership. If there is, I think there are a lot of things that will go down into history as achievements of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Handling the transition within the mountain was one of the failures. Because if you remember, when Kibaki was handing over power at the national level, he was also handing it over at the regional level. That's what Limuru was about. I am not going myself. You go there, talk, and whatever you decide, I'll agree with. So he stayed aloof, never interfered, never talked about it. So we went to Limuru 1 and said, Uhuru is our voice. We went to Limuru 2, we said, he's not just our voice, but he'll be our candidate at the national level. And you can imagine, I have said this before, but you can imagine how Kibaki was feeling in State House. He's a Kikuyu. The Mount Kenya people in Limuru 2 have said that Kikuyu succeed him, and at the same time, there's a problem with the International Criminal Court. So, but he could not interfere with that, so that's it. Now, when it came to Uhuru's time, he stayed put. We were supposed to go to Limuru 3 in March 2022 and decide who next after him. It never materialized. And therefore, we go here to the election very, very unprepared and without a successor. Now, he leaves power because he had to leave according to the Constitution, and we were left here without anybody, and then you have lost to the opponent. The Tanga side of things have swept the board, literally sweeping the board, that you have no seat, even a voice or one person who can empower to speak on your behalf. And then Tanga positions itself as the heir to Kenyatta. And everybody else is quiet. So this is really what is rumbling. And by the time people are going to Limuru 3, people are asking, have we really prepared ourselves as a community? Because we have Jubilee. Jubilee is fighting. We have the Sabina Kanini Kega Jubilee. We have Uhuru Kenyatta's Kioni Jubilee. On this other side, we have UDA. There is Gachagua there. There's Didinyoro there. There's Moses Kuria in between. And we have many other people who can also rise up and become kingpins because they have the potential. Right. But the fighting is so intense. So what we normally do, because this is not the first time we are at it, is people to go behind the tent and then you talk in a very inclusive process and then identify and say, this is our leader. When we were identifying Uhuru Kenyatta as a voice for the region, there was Mother Karua, who was a hopeful. There was Peter Kenneth. There were Paul Muite. There were many others from the region who were aspiring to succeed. And somehow people sat behind the tent and they agreed that let's go this way. Not everybody would agree, but there's a kind of a credible, sufficient consensus around that person. Yeah. And so what we don't have now is sufficient consensus where an individual wakes up and say, I am the kingpin.
I was about to ask that, Mumbi. So what came out of it? Was there anything standard, that came out of it, substantial?
Let me first make a disclaimer. I am ODM. I have been 22 years. So I am not an expert, but I'm a participant observer, and I'm a fast learner. Limuru 3. To me, it was what we are calling public participation. And public participation is good. You get people together, you hear them. It's a part in the Constitution that people can meet and discuss issues. So I saw it as a good public participation. But having considered the other Limurus, I am of years that understand what happened in Limuru 1 and Limuru 2. Then Limuru 3 missed as an observer. They missed the target. And I hope they will pick it up from there and prepare for other Limurus where a clear way forward will be found. I didn't see much, but from where I sit, the confusion is more. The rumbling in the mountain, especially what happened over the weekend. Now we find like the UDA Mount Kenya is now telling the other members, how can you think that you can come and organize us? Who are you? Anyway, such things are going on. If I were them, I would have done it the Maasai way. Because we have suswas. A suswa and another one and another one. And I know before the suswa, the main one come, the community, the Ma community sits in their counties behind the tents. And then they agree and pick on something that they will export to the suswa itself. They do it in Samburu. I am their relative, so I know. They do it in Transmara, Narok. Then they come to Kajiado. Behind the tents, people from Mount Kenya do not know about those meetings. And they even do it in Mount Elgon. Then when they set the suswa, they come with a single way forward that now is taken back to the counties where they come from. I think this one was rushed. They should have sorted some things nyuma ya hema. Again, I also would have preferred that those who are doing the invitations, instead of announcing a public participation the way I saw it being announced, you come. There's some number, you say you want to come and you are free to come. I would have expected, because it's a community thing, it's about the mountain. And we have had leaders before. We have governors who served, we have cabinet secretaries, former ministers, who are still alive, even when the economy of the Kikuyus was doing very well. look for religious leaders who speak and the community listens, because this Limuru was as a result of the discomfort on the ground. But that's my analysis. I know there's a lot of discomfort with the current leadership at the constituency, at county level, everywhere. So probably somebody took advantage to fill the gap. And I hope it's going to be, we are going to come out of the mess.
Yeah. Professor Mashari Monene, who was the biggest winner? Who was the biggest loser in Limuru 3?
I think Martha Karua was a winner. Remember, there is a time that she and Kioni cooked up something called Kamwene.
Yeah.
And did not go very far. And they were trying to galvanize. And as Mheshimiwa said, I think they took advantage of the discomfort in the country, because there is serious discomfort in the country. And in that discomfort, the elected leaders, MPs, governors, are total disappointment. And because they are disappointment, people are looking for ways, where do we go now? I think Martha, in her own ways, took advantage of that discomfort and said, let's provide a forum for people to talk. And I think they were careful not to say, we are going to choose a leader. Because every time you say you're going to pick a leader, people run away. They say, they accuse you of things. One of the things we've noted in the mountain is people who say, let us unite for our own sake together. And we move forward, and you follow me. If you listen to Gachagua, he says, let us unite and you follow me. So the fact that they avoided that thing of follow me for unity was an attraction in itself. It was a success if it got people talking. And part of the reason we are here is because of that. That itself is a success. And so some things that were being discussed underground, just mohuhu here and there, are now in the open. And the reaction, because the discussions are increasing, and whether you get reaction from Kakamega, which have come, or some other place, there's a result of that meeting. That in itself is an achievement, because you do not bottle up things anymore. Let people talk. The eventual outcome is not known, but at least people are venting.
Yeah.
So that meeting was a venting forum for whatever may be going on.
Biggest loser?
Biggest loser? Well, I don't want to say Gachagua, but because he looks desperate, his reactions, all the things he's been saying from that time are reactions to this discomfort that Martha has taken advantage of.
Mumbi, you're smiling, you agree?
Yes, I do. I do. The person who is feeling the heat is the deputy president. I would love that he's respected. But you know, respect is two ways.
Yeah.
I think he failed the test of respect. And he took other leaders for granted. And he started the fight too early. And picking on, I think he picked on the wrong people. And you keep on calling me former MP Yala. There are some things I learned from Yala in my 5 years, and today here as we are seated. I think we wouldn't name the deputy or vice presidents of the other partner states, just where we are seated here. If I asked you who is, for example, the vice president of Tanzania, you may ask, is it a lady or a man? Uganda.
Yeah.
We may ask just here, and these are political giants. So there's something wrong that he took the seat as a co-principal and forgot he's a deputy president. That's the way I look at it. We have experts here, even from, at international level. Even when he picks the mic to invite the president, he talks for about 30 minutes, giving a policy statement. I don't think that one goes very well at that level, because you don't overshadow your boss. So we all start from somewhere. We can allow him to start with, somewhere, but the question is he learning? Has he attempted to learn? I hear people saying that, okay, he's coming up, but the tutors around him are missing the point. The last one I would want to mention why he's feeling the heat. Somebody mentioned about Limuru 1, and they were wazees within the Kikuyu community. Wise people who are respected within the Kikuyu community. That even me, as somebody from ODM, they would look for me and say, call me, because I'm a small girl to them, I'm their daughter. They would say, where can you do? So, and they have tea with me.
Yes.
I haven't heard of such an attempt where the wazees around him are looking for giants like these ones, and other people have been there with our small experiences. We would do something neat for him.
Yeah.
But the biggest loser at the position of a deputy president in the next phase of President Ruto.
I want to talk about that after the break. That's very important.
These are noisemakers.
Who is the noisemakers?
Yeah, yes.
I want to know who it is then. What an interesting conversation, folks. The mountain is rumbling. We've got the experts right here to break it all down. Professor Peter Kagwanja is in the house. Mumbi Ng'aru as well, former Iyala MP, and Professor Mashari.